If you are not aware, Joe Biden was on 60 Minutes, had an interview. There were some cringe moments. There are two particular issues that I want to discuss in reference to that interview. One is about his take on U.S. intervention with Taiwan. And the other one is something that he has to say about the pandemic in this country. Let's start with Taiwan. Listen to this.
What should Chinese President Xi know about your commitment to Taiwan?
We agree with what we signed on to a long time ago, and that there's a one China policy, and Taiwan makes their own judgments about their independence. We are not moving, we're not encouraging their being independent. That's their decision.
But would U.S. forces defend the island?
Yes, if in fact there was an unprecedented attack.
After our interview, a White House official told us U.S. policy has not changed. Officially, the U.S. will not say whether American forces would defend Taiwan, but the commander-in-chief had a view of his own.
So,
do you see the problem? Let's go back. We'll go through the whole thing this time. Listen to what he says here.
What should Chinese President Xi know about your commitment to Taiwan?
We agree with what we signed on to a long time ago, and that there's a one China policy, and Taiwan makes their own judgments about their independence. We are not moving, we're not encouraging their being independent. That's their decision.
But would U.S. forces defend the island?
Yes, if in fact there was an unprecedented attack.
After our interview, a White House official told us U.S. policy has not changed. Officially, the U.S. will not say whether American forces would defend Taiwan.
But the president just told you that they would. He specifically asked Joe Biden if China attacked Taiwan, not necessarily attacked Taiwan, but invaded Taiwan, he specifically asked Joe Biden, would the U.S. intervene? Joe Biden says yes. But after this interview, they spoke with White House officials that told them the U.S.'s policy has not changed and they would not comment on intervention. Let's make sure I heard that correctly. Here we go.
The U.S. will not say whether American forces would defend Taiwan.
They will not comment on that. They will not say yes or no, one way or the other. That's the statement from the White House official. But here's the president of the United States, who was in the White House, just telling, I don't know how many people saw this episode, but just this clip right here from Twitter is 2.9 million views. But basically telling millions of American people that, yes, we would intervene. What we have here is a failure to communicate. That's Cool Hand Luke. Look it up. It's either a failure to communicate or Joe Biden is not with it. This is dangerous. I want people to understand this comment that he made here is dangerous. That's the message that he just sent to China and to Taiwan. This interview aired. People saw it. So now they know that Joe Biden, they know what his plan would be to do. So now you can have people in Taiwan say, well, if China invades or they come after us, we don't have to worry about it because Joe Biden said that, yes, the U.S. troops would come in and intervene. I mean, you can't say that he didn't say it because it's right here. So the White House official is saying one thing and Joe Biden is saying something different. This isn't the first time we've seen this happen. This is a problem.
but the commander-in-chief had a view of his own.
So unlike Ukraine, to be clear, sir, U.S. forces, U.S. men and women would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion.
Yes.
What
That's
should
twice.
Chinese...
That's twice. See, he did what good journalists would do. Just to be clear, let's ask that question again. And he did that. And Joe Biden said yes again. Now, what does that tell you about Joe Biden? Forget what the White House officials are saying. Joe Biden's letting you know, again, he has his own agenda. So already know where his mind is at. He has no problem sending troops over abroad again. Again. You pull troops out of Afghanistan, but he's just waiting to press the button to send them to another country. When it comes to foreign policy and when it comes to war with the United States government, it doesn't matter if we have a Republican president or a Democrat president, because both parties are pro-war. Both. Just another reason to send them over there again, to get them involved in these conflicts where people lose their lives. Raise your hand if you're in the chat and you know people who have lost their lives in Iraq. People who did not come back home. And he's just can't wait to just got his hand on the trigger button, just can't wait to do it again. Just can't wait. For those who are not aware, Taiwan is a part of China. Now, is there some desire for them to possibly gain their own independence? Yes, there is. But why are we getting involved in this? He's already telling you, yes, that would be the plan. Don't have to take it from me. Again, he asked him the question twice.
Ukraine, to be clear, sir, U.S. forces, U.S. men and women would defend Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion.
Yes.
And where's that money going to come from? Oh, we have plenty of money for that, though. Plenty of money when it comes to war. What did Tupac say? You got money for war, but you can't feed the poor? It's true. It's true. Rome is trying to head towards Jackson, Mississippi to give them water. That's really something that our government should be doing when you think about it. They're still sending billions to Ukraine, but you can't fix the water situation in Jackson, Mississippi, or in Flint, or in Baltimore. You can't fix that. This is another example where mutual aid has been more beneficial than relying on the United States government. You got Rome, who don't even live there, raising money to go down there and get them the supply, get them the clean water that they need. Shouldn't that come first? That's our government. Now that's one of the clips that I want to show you from that interview. But there's more. And then we have an article with this one too, because he really got called out for this one in particular. So they did also ask Joe Biden about the pandemic. Listen to this.
Mr. President, first Detroit Auto Show in 3 years.
Yeah.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over. If you notice, no one's wearing masks. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. And so I think it's changing, and I think this is a perfect example of it.
Mr. President, first Detroit Auto Show in 3 years.
Yeah.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over. if you notice, no one's wearing masks. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. And so I think it's changing, and I think this is a perfect example of it.
Mr. President, first Detroit auto
Listen to what he says. I want you to pay close attention to what he says.
show in 3 years.
Yeah.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still.
What? The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with it. I don't know how he handled this interview. The gentleman interviewing him, I don't know how he handled this. But I can tell you, some people are not too happy about what Joe Biden said in reference to the pandemic. And we're actually going to get into that story right now. This article here. Now, this is from Politico. Biden on 60 Minutes, the pandemic is over. Oh dear. President Joe Biden said the pandemic is over in discussing the pandemic during an interview that aired on Sunday evening on CBS 60 Minutes. And then they go into the quote here. Despite Biden's statement, the pandemic has continued to exact a toll in the United States and around the world. The Johns Hopkins, I got to be careful what I say on here, you guys. The Johns Hopkins Pandemic Resource Center lists more than 2 million cases in the country in the last 28 days, with hundreds dying from the disease every day. That's Johns Hopkins. They're either number 1 or number 2 now. They flip-flop with Mass General. So you have the top 2 hospital in the United States. Let's go on. Biden's insistence on Sunday night that the pandemic is over caught several of his own health officials by surprise. The declaration was not part of his planned remarks ahead of the 60 Minutes interview. That's coming from 2 administration officials familiar with the matter. Later in the interview, Biden was clear that he didn't take the overall effects of the pandemic lightly. The impact on the psyche of American people as a consequence of the pandemic is profound. Think of how that has changed everything. You know, people's attitudes about themselves, their families, about the state of the nation, about the state of their communities. And so there's a lot of uncertainty there, a great deal of uncertainty, and we lost 1 million people. Biden's statement was the most definite one he has made about the pandemic since assuming the presidency in January 2021. He was less definitive when asked whether he planned to seek re-election. And that gets to the poll that I was going to ask you guys about as well. So now we're getting into the poll question here. But I do just want to stop for just a second and let you know, yeah, some of the health officials are not too happy about this. They are not happy about his response. So every time he's interviewed, he says something that's off the wall or that goes against like either the health department or the State Department. Like every time he says something that's just kind of out there. So those are just 2 examples that I pointed to from that interview. Here's the problem. He's the president of the United States. You have to get it right. You can't give people information and letting people think one way if that's not what is believed to be true. Now they get to the point about whether he will run again. And listen to this. Is it a firm decision that I run again? That remains to be seen. Is it a firm decision that I will run again? That remains to be seen. After he had already said publicly that he intends to run again, he already declared that publicly He will be running again in 2024. Here you have the president of the United States telling the American people, whether or not I'll run again, that remains to be seen. What? What is happening? Our U.S. government is a joke. It's a joke. Richard, Biden has always been full of shit. I don't know where to begin. I don't know where to begin. JB says he's not running. It's like, dude, like, what is this? That remains to be seen. Either you're running or you're not. Let's get into it. Okay, let's come on here. A little bit more. He did qualify his remarks by saying it had always been his intention to seek another term and explained that election laws would come into play if he were to announce his candidacy at this juncture. This is just such a mess. This is such a mess. And they go on to talk about the Queen and Trump and blah, 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 blah. It's laughable at best. It's laughable at best. I'm trying my hardest not to laugh at some of the comments because you guys are cracking me up tonight. And then they go into the Taiwan situation here as well. So we have a problem. We have a problem. JB says, yep, our country is a massive joke. Carlin couldn't tell a joke this big. Yikes. James says, come on November game day. Oh my God. Oh my God. Eric, can we go ahead and show the poll results? Because I did ask you guys if you think that Joe Biden should run in 2024. Here's what you had to say. Should Joe Biden run in 2024? We have 371 votes. If you just voted now, I'm sorry. I think Eric already took the results. That's totally fine. Should Biden run in 2024? 7% said yes. Those of you that said yes, what is happening? Like, what? More people said yes than not sure. So 7% said yes. 91% said no. No. And 3% said not sure. Okay, Eric, thanks for letting me know. Can you believe this? Oh, wait, I think the vote number just went up. Did somebody else just vote? I don't know if it changes it or not. 377 votes. We have 579. It keeps going up. 7% are trolls. Except for Bad Cookies. Bad Cookies did tell us that they voted yes because they want to watch him lose. Dana said, I wish there had been a hell no. I don't know what to say. It's just, wow, wow, wow. Okay. Either way, the majority of you are like, no, he should not run again. And I agree. I agree.